Yo, what's up? This is Rob Gronkowski, and you're watching the Moneyball Channel.
All right, everybody. I have with me Gabe Carr Johnson, and Gabe is an associate producer with Sunday Night Football. I thought this would be a real cool interview. Get this man on, tell us a little bit about his daily operations or as to what he does and what preparation goes into Sunday Night Football other than Carrie Underwood's makeup.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
So welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Seen a receiver with more God-given ability than Calvin Johnson.
I spent a lot of time in this stadium, a lot of Sundays, a lot of memories. But man, there was something different, something magical.
This is out of control in here.
About those 2 nights in January last year. Still gives me chills thinking about it now.
Good. I appreciate you having me on. I've been watching a lot of episodes, so I'm ready for it. You know, the random questions that pop up, I think I'm ready for it. I wrote some notes down.
I love it, man. Well, I appreciate that. You know, it's always good to hear. Whenever I have a guest on and they say they've been watching and keeping up, that makes me feel good. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Sunday Night Football and what led to this. We were talking a little bit before you came on, but let's hear the juicy deets.
So before I was at Sunday Night Football, I was at Fox Nascar. There were some unfortunate situations. We all pretty much got laid off beginning of June. My lease was up down in Charlotte at the end of June, so I was like, I might as well just go home, chill for a little bit. It was around the July 20th mark. I got a text from my professor saying that Mike Tirico asked for my resume and for my portfolio just so because he knew that I didn't have a job and he wanted me to get me in. So I sent that to her, and that same minute, I had it on my phone already, so I was like, Mike Tirico asked for it, I got to give it to him. So
yeah, you do, man. Yeah, I mean, if anyone doesn't know who Mike Tirico is, you shouldn't be watching this show because you're not a sports fan. But Tirico, obviously a legend in broadcasting and one of the most resound, I guess, recognizable names in the business. And you know, to have him in your corner, and tell us a little bit about that relationship or how that formed.
So when I was at Syracuse University, I was there for broadcast and digital journalism, and he graduated from there. I would probably say late 80s, early 90s. And he always comes back probably 3-4 times a year just to come see the students, talk to them, whatever the case may be. Me and him talked for, I'd probably say a good 45 minutes. We just hit it right off the bat right away. Okay. He asked about my background and stuff like that and what I wanted to do. And after that, he just pretty much like, he was like, I see you have a great future ahead of you in this business. And if this business treats you right, then you'll do perfectly fine.
It'll pump your ego up a little bit, huh? Yeah, you got the pump out, man. I mean, honestly, coming from him, you know, all joking aside, you know, if he pulls you and says, hey, you know, I think that you have it. Hey, kid, I think you have it. I think that's something to take, you know, just grain of salt. I mean, literally, that guy, he's been at it for a long time. And Tirico doesn't just do, you know, that broadcast. I mean, that guy does all kinds of sports, Olympics. And, you know, like I said, he's probably the most all around recognizable face in sports, I would say. Right.
Yeah, it was honestly crazy. He did golf one weekend, did the Olympics 2 days later, and then transitioned because we had a preseason Sunday Night Football game. He transitioned into that like a couple of days later, and he just did it without skipping a beat. So just like seeing him work and stuff like that is honestly crazy.
Well, and he's so well versed and well spoken in every one of those avenues. So he could be, you know, he could do a football game and then talk about the Olympians, this 12-year-old Russian's background, right, in the Olympics. Just he's a cerebral guy, man, and you know, a lot of respect. And obviously he had some respect for you and got you where you are now. So what is your daily operation? Like, what do you do while you were there? Associate producer. So it sounds like you're getting things ready, like making some, you know, tell us a little bit about it.
Wednesdays, we have our big like staff meeting where everybody comes in and gives ideas for what we think should go on during the game and stuff like that. Okay. After that meeting, I either fly out of where I am to go shoot and I do the tease every week. First week it was Calvin Johnson, and then like
the one, yeah. I'm gonna put that out when I edit it too. Because did you do that one?
Yeah,
that was amazing. That was really good.
Yeah. So shooting with Calvin was great. That was my first time I ever done something like that. So I was nervous. He was like, listen, we'll be fine. Like what? And then
so we got to hear. Hold on, time out. We got to hear more about Megatron because you don't just casually say me and Calvin Johnson were chilling, right? I mean, this guy is a legend, and I thought you were like getting archive footage and putting it together. You and CJ were working together.
Yeah.
All right.
So I went out to Detroit to shoot with him.
Okay.
Shout out the Detroit Lions. They helped me out with their whole stadium. They let me have free access to it, so that was great. Shot with Calvin, did many takes. He was great. Came back. Then I go get the archival footage too, and then I edit that all together.
So how does it kind of mesh? So, I mean, I would think, like you said, it's a lot of takes, right? They say, okay, Megatron, we need you for what, an hour or 2 hours, and we're going to get as much as we can done in that time and try to come up with ideas. Does he have anything in the ideas portion of it?
So I like pre-planned a script. I come with the writers, we write a script together. But some stuff, he mentioned a line about them being him being a part of the 0-16 team. I did not put that in there because I didn't want to do that to him. But he was like, yes, I think that we should add this because it adds to the story of Detroit. It's like, perfect.
Yeah.
So just simple stuff like that. Yeah, just going back and forth with the writers, making sure everything flows well.
So now he was 1 week, and I mean, I see every week they kind of have a different element to it. I don't know if you know this or not, but my wife has met Carrie, and she's been extremely close with some of her backup dancers and her trainers and stuff. Carrie is like Trisha's soulmate or something. I don't know what it is, but I wouldn't say obsessed because that's a weird thing to say, but she's very, very into Carrie, and she's got the opportunity to be involved with her a few times. She's trying to get her take her beatbox program. My wife has a designed boxing program. And actually in Carrie's trailer is one of our beatbox bags. So like I said, we went out to Vegas, had a little thing with her and stuff, and she's gotten real close. Have you gotten to meet Carrie, or have you been involved?
I have not. The week before I joined is when they filmed the entire, like every Carrie thing that you guys see is they filmed it.
It's all done ahead of time.
Yeah.
That stuff's all been done, right? Like
yeah.
Well, and man, that woman, I can tell you, like the schedule. I mean, just no rest for the wicked. That woman, literally, she has her Vegas shows, right? Where it's what do they call it? A residency.
Residence, yeah.
And then she did a private concert for West Her over the summer.
Oh, she did.
She did a private concert for West Her. So they called her. The year before we had Blake Shelton, and then this year we had Carrie Underwood. So it was kind of funny, like, as far as my wife goes, it was this whole thing, and it's like the universe is telling them to meet. So she got meet and greet, and she got to, kick it with her for a couple minutes, and she choked. She told me she choked a little bit, but that's all right. And what the funny thing is, Gabe, they wanted the cultural diversity because it was country the prior year.
Mm-hmm.
So guess who opened for Carrie Underwood?
Who was it?
Our very own Benny the Butcher.
Benny.
Bro, Benny opened for Carrie. So Benny came out. Like, I'm a big Benny fan, right? Griselda, all the guys, and I had Ricky Hyde on the show and stuff, and Benny came out and did like 4 or 5 songs, and they told him to chill with the swearing.
Yeah.
And like Benny just, he can't, it's just of what he does, right? I don't even think he realizes that he's swearing half the time, and, certain words they use and things like that, right? So like Benny, I don't know how
part of his performance now. It's part of his performance now.
Yeah, man. It was, I didn't personally go because I was just kind of beat, and Trish went and everything else. But I mean, people told me it was just, you go from Benny to Carrie Underwood coming on. It was a little ridiculous, but shout out to West Her, man, for doing that for their employees. It's just, the fact that they even think and pay, and reward their employees that way speaks volumes for them.
Yeah. Shout out to West Her.
Sure. Yeah. And, but back to your grind and what you have going on. I think it's so cool that the last time you and I spoke, you had this huge uncertainty as to what your future held, and you were just kind of going with the flow. That's what I like about you, man. You're kind of chill, and you just go with the flow. And you said, okay, NASCAR, right? I'm going to, you just go into that because it was in your creative path.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, and I'll say this till I'm dead to anybody that'll listen, but the universe has a plan for people, man, and karma and universe and that all the power and the energy, right? And you're kind of right now back right on the path that you couldn't have scripted any better.
Yeah, no. I mean, I would never guess. I'm only 24 too, so it's right. Like I've never expected. When I was 21, I was like, "There's no way you'd be doing this right now." Like I didn't even know what I wanted to do. So
I didn't even know you were doing it till I talked to you, and he said, "Yeah, he's with Sonny." I said, "What? Like, what do you mean? This dude don't even tell me what's going on." I was so proud of you, though, man. I felt like I truly was. Like I felt
appreciate
about
that,
it.
yeah.
I was like, "That's really cool. I got to get a hold of him." Do you enjoy it? Is it a lot of fun?
Oh my! This is unbelievable. But the crazy thing is, to me, it seems like we should be at week 18 and week 2 at the same time. Like the season flies by, but it's also drags along when you're this in deep into it.
It's got to be different from that perspective, from like a fan, right? Such as myself, who just, because the season to me is flying by, and if you do fantasy football and stuff like that, it's like, oh my God, it's week 12, and the
It's week 12.
But yeah, I would think when you're in it, like you just said, it's got to go either so fast or so. Is there a lot of redundancy with it?
No, because we have a different tease person every week, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like we went from week 1 was Calvin, week 2 was Samuel Jackson, week 3 was CJ Stroud's mom and Caleb Williams' mom, week 4 was Ray Lewis, week 5 was Celine Dion. That was a big one.
That's unbelievable. So did you meet all of these people?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you met Celine Dion.
Yeah.
So let's talk about 3 years ago, right? If you're at Syracuse and you're getting ready to graduate and somebody says, you know what, man, I got a crystal ball, and in 3 years, you're going to be hanging out with Celine Dion.
I would have never guessed that. Like I would have called you crazy and silly and probably put you in an
insane asylum.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I mean, obviously, you know what? Like I can tell. You respect these people, right?
Yeah.
And, you're not all over them. You're not fanboying them. You're a professional and you're doing your job. I get it. But what was that like, right? I mean,
her process, it was a crazy process. I had to record myself saying the entire script exactly how she wanted it.
Okay.
That was the first off, so she can approve of it and everything like that. Then getting to meet her, she was just a really nice person. She was really down to earth. She was really energetic, but she mainly did it because she wanted to have her sons feel like she was cool, and they love football. That she was like, what a way to do it. Then
for sure. Football. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, Celine Dion doesn't seem like she might be the biggest football fan in the world, but
she loved it though. She watched the Cowboys and Steelers game. She watched that, and now she wants us to hook her up with some tickets to either a Vegas game or a Steelers game.
That is so cool, man. So basically the intro, and then does a different team handle each element of the show?
Yes.
Okay, so you're on intro. That's your job.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they might say, as the show progresses, or maybe next year or whatever, what's going on, they might say, okay, now we want you to do half times or trailers going into the week or something like that.
So I'm hoping after this year, I can start traveling with our crew every week to wherever the game might be and do something like on the road. Whether it's like in-game video packages or like just different stuff that goes on. People don't really know this. Like if you cut out the cameraman, their crew is, I'd probably say 16, 17 people. Like it's not that many people. People were like, we thought you had like hundreds of people with them.
Well, how many with the cameraman?
Camera, was there 53 cameras?
Yeah.
So probably 53 cameras. Yeah.
Just camera, right? And that's pretty wild. But yeah, I guess that makes sense with the they probably don't want too many. First of all, I mean the expenses that are involved and everything else, right? Then just traveling with that many people, I'm sure can complicate things, and you don't want people in the way and stuff like that. I think I would think that the network and everyone involved would want people there who are there to work, right?
Yeah.
And no screwing around. I think Sunday Night Football, if I'm not mistaken, is second or third. No, actually, it's above Monday Night Football for viewership.
Yeah, we're this season we're number one.
Number one out of everything, right?
Yeah. Well, except that Chiefs and Bills game. Go Bills.
Yeah, man.
That was the number one game of the year in terms of ratings.
Yeah, that was crazy. There was a lot of hype. They had Nate Burleson jumping through tables. They had some other guys. They had like the whole CBS crew jumping through tables.
That was exciting to see. I was supposed to be working at the time, but I was so locked into that game it made no sense.
Yeah, you were like, this is gonna have to take a seat. But the show itself, like the football dynamic, yes, it's number one with football, but I think it's the number one show, period.
Yeah.
It topples everything else. I mean, it's CSI doesn't hold a match to Sunday Night Football. And basketball I'm hoping does get a little bit more recognition. It sounds weird, but not everybody has TNT. Not everybody knows how to get to TNT on their.
Yeah, especially with all these new streaming services, it's really hard to find everything. Like
it's hard for me.
Football. Yeah.
Complaining to my wife, I turned the TV on. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't know what to do, right? I said I wanted to watch something that was on this. We didn't have it. We had to buy that Paramount Plus or something. So now And, you know, we look and we have 17 different streaming services, but I want to stay in the loop with you and your career and these weekly episodes. Man, you might meet Eminem, right? They had something going on last year. I think Eminem.
Yeah, last year for the playoffs, it was the Eminem. He did the tease last year. So
I mean, how's that going to be? Are you an M fan?
I am.
I am too. A lot of people, you know, some of the newer generation doesn't like M, whatever. I mean, M to me is an absolute legend. He's a definite top 5, and I think that would be amazing, you know, to meet that dude because he's very private and to himself and stuff, right?
Yeah, you know, especially now, like now that Haley's grown up and stuff like that, he's about to be a grandfather now. So
Oh, isn't it wild? He's a 50 something, man, and his last album was killer though. Like he came out raging, man. He came back at it, you know.
that's somebody you don't want to piss off.
No, and he's not a real big guy. He's just somebody you don't want to piss off.
No.
But thanks for taking this time, man. This was a lot of fun chopping it up. I'm not going to hit you with any crazy questions because I think I'm going to have you on again, you know, maybe later in the season or in the playoffs. So I won't hit you with anything too crazy tonight. I'll let you off the hook. But
I appreciate that.
no, I mean it sincerely. It was great catching up with you, man. And
Yeah.
you know, much success to you, and just keep this career moving in the right direction. And you know, you always forget you never forget where you came from. That's what I
Buffalo team 716, man. 716.
stick to those roots, man. But have a great evening, okay?
You too.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon, man.